Hey guys, welcome back. So it's been a few weeks or a month or whatever, I don't know. It's been a while since I did a video that hasn't just been a quick, hey, we're doing stuff, or we're not doing stuff. So I thought I'd check back in. As I mentioned earlier, we will be doing we'll be talking about Halloween Ends tomorrow, and I'll be doing a Halloween ranking for all the movies in terms of my enjoyment of them and stuff, or lack thereof. But I figured we would get back to at least wrapping up the video on meeting Anna and that whole thing. Last time we did one was the whole bridgework situation, which I went into in great painstaking detail. I'll try not to keep this one as long, but I'm waiting for my car to be done anyway, so I got all the time in the world. So until they call, of course, which that could be, an hour from now, it could be, who knows? It could be days from now. No, anyway, let's get to the point, Adam. Stop rambling. All right, so when we last left off, after being let go from bridgework, which, I was reflecting on that a little bit today on the way home, that whole situation. I think a lot of it, the things that went down, were really based around two things. The first was I really missed Anna, I hadn't gotten to see my girlfriend. It wasn't like a normal relationship where it's like, oh, I'll see her on weekends. It was like I was planning on going to see her before I got the bridgework job. And then that didn't happen because I went and did the bridgework job, which was fine. I mean, it was totally legitimate. She was fine with it because, hey, acting job's an acting job. And it paid pretty well, actually. There's the other sad part of it. The other thing I think is that, I had the Tecumseh experience 2 times already. And at Tecumseh, like I said before, you had 30-some people on a mountain, in these little cabins and stuff like that. And yeah, did all 30 people spend every single day together, go everywhere together? No, obviously not. Other than parties and stuff like that, everybody be there and stuff like that. But people had their groups of people, 3 or 4 people who go to the library, or let's go to the gym, or let's go to the grocery store, So I think what caught me in the crosshairs of bridgework was that it's just 4 people in a van. So it's like, if these 3 people are ditching me, I got no one to talk to. I'm hanging by myself, and I think that probably, plus the whole thing, the other thing of being on the road, can sometimes take its toll on people. Which I think is what probably happened there. But like I said, it's water under the bridge. Work. See what I did there? I'm a humorist. Bridge under... Anyway. You can see comedy like that at Turbo Turkey, baby. But anyway, like I said, that was water under the bridge. It is what it is. I've discussed it in detail. But it was just something I thought about on the way home that I was like, that was probably what really wrapped around the whole anger thing, was that you used to have these group of friends, and then you had someone to go, and then I didn't have that, and then it's like these 3 people did it, and then it's like, and then I got upset, and it was just a bad day. Things happen, we move on. So anyway, after that had happened, I did actually get a chance to. I might have mentioned this in the bridgework video, but it's been a few weeks, so fuck it, I'll bring it up. I got to go see Anna in Virginia. I got a plane ticket. At that time, I also started working at Target because Myers didn't want to bring me back just because I was going to leave again in a few months for Tecumseh. So I didn't tell Target that I was going to leave so that I could get the job. What a fiending bastard I am. But luckily what I said when I edited is I was going away. I think it was Easter weekend. I don't know how the hell I got to go away for Easter weekend to see my girlfriend, Anna. But obviously Anna, the one I'm married to. I don't know how they were like, yeah, sure, we'll hire you and give you Easter weekend off. That would never happen normally, but they were nice. So props to Target. So anyway, I got to go there. I flew out there. I landed in Pittsburgh. I can't remember if I landed in Pittsburgh on the way there or on the way back. It might have been Detroit on the way there. But either way, on the way, one of the twos, it was cool because it's Pittsburgh. So I got myself a Pittsburgh Penguins t-shirt while I was there because I'm a Pittsburgh Penguins fan. And it's obviously the whole story behind it is it's like when I was a kid, I picked teams off of if I liked their logo. That's why I'm a Rams fan. It's a Rams, got a horn on the helmet. And this one, it's a penguin playing hockey. How cool is fucking that? So Pittsburgh Penguins, baby, woo. Although I do support the Seattle Kraken as well, because That's an awesome name too. But anyway, back to point. We had a good time. I went there, and yeah, it was in Virginia. It was God, where was that? Longwood University. Have you ever heard of Longwood University? That's where Anna went to school and graduated from. And but anyway, I got to meet her friends that are roommates. I remember we watched DS9 marathon, and then went to the mall. We saw I think it was Hidalgo. That movie Hidalgo. I still remember that. We saw that. That was pretty good. Ate at the food court, and yeah, I had a good time. I think it's funny because like the first night, I think I'd booked a hotel for 2 nights, and like I stayed the first night, but then I was like, oh, well, if I can just stay in her dorm room, why am I going to waste money? So I ended up checking out the next morning just to save money, get my money back, honestly. So I got to stay with her, the next night, which was cool. Yeah, and like I said, it was a good visit, and it was cool to see Virginia because I had seen it as a baby because my Aunt Carol had lived in Virginia, but I obviously didn't remember it. So it was cool to see Virginia and stuff, and we had a nice visit. And then I spent the next couple months working at Target, which was pretty fun. I liked Target. I really have to say that. I wish that I had continued working there. I'll get to that in a minute. But because like the managers I had there were really nice. I was a cashier. There were times that like if it wasn't busy, they would say, go and shut your lane down and just walk around the store. Let's see how long it takes you to walk around the store. Just like stupid things like that. But it was fun. They were very nice. I never got chewed out for anything. It was right connected to what was the mall at that point. So if I wanted to, I could go to the food court. I could eat there. I could, it was nice. I didn't mind it. It was just there a couple months, but it was, I just said that I got an acting opportunity, and that's why I had to leave. And they were pretty understanding about it. And the managers that liked me, were, like, hey, just let us know when you get back, and we'll be happy to bring you back. Except for this one manager, and I think this is the manager that I'll get to later. But she's like, why are you leaving, Adam? I'm just like, I got an opportunity. I didn't want to toss it up. So it's like, I don't know. I'll get to that later. But anywho, so obviously I was going to go to Tecumseh for a third year. This time I was going to be playing the priest who marries some of the characters, which was really fun because I had a great audition for it the previous summer. And I got to play the role, so that was super cool. So I got down there, and of course, my usual friends, Bobby and Kyle and Nick Nolte and all those guys, we're all down there. And some new friends as well that I made over that summer too. And I think in terms of my ranking of summers at Tecumseh, obviously the first year is always going to be my favorite because I met Anna there. And it was just a great, first experience and stuff like that, with a few hiccups along the way with, getting a truck stuck and, emergency brake on fire. But like, I can laugh at that stuff, But like, it was, so that one's always, but the third year would probably be my second favorite. Second year wasn't bad, but it was just that tension of like, oh God, she could be cheating on me and she's not really cheating on me, but it's in my head. That whole thing it didn't ruin the summer, but I think it took a lot of toll on my brain. Whereas the third season, I was just like, still thinking about her, of course, and communicating with her. Because she didn't end up going, the previous year she did Interlock, and that year she didn't end up getting to do any theater things. She ended up working at Subway for the summer. So yes, my wife was a Subway artist at one point in time. That's right. It's a skill, baby. So we would email and stuff like that. Before I came down to Tecumseh, I actually had a falling out with a friend. And it was actually over on and it was maybe just we had this conversation and he was asking about my relationship and I don't know, it was just questioning whether it was legitimate and questioning whether it was, she was just using me and things like, I don't know. And in hindsight, it's water under the bridge now, we're cool now. But at the time it was just I felt kind of I don't know, he was looking out for me obviously because he didn't know her. And Anna understood that too. She didn't know him, so it wasn't and I can understand the context of this person that's in a whole other state. You have no idea, and yeah, and don't get me wrong, there could be situations like that where people are being taken advantage of. Absolutely. This was not the case with this one. And I even talked to Anna about it, and this isn't happening, right? And then I, did a not so nice kind of smarmy email back to him saying, well, clearly, and he says, as long as we don't mention this again, and then I stupidly responded. And so we didn't talk for a while. But like I said, I'm glad that's all water under the bridge. When me and Anna got married, he sent a congratulations and stuff. So obviously, not really a big deal, but it was just another little thing on 2004's year of like, this year had the potential to be great. And then, I got fired. I'm falling out with a friend. And so anyway, the third year was pretty good. I got to take horse riding lessons, which was a lot of fun, especially when the horse tries to eat your shoe. And I didn't get thrown off a horse, so that's always a plus. Or like my poor friend Nick Greek, who got kicked in the face that first year. That was scary as hell. Yeah, so that was fun. And I bonded with a lot of other people. I had a great roommate, Scott Thomas, who we got along really well. And we would watch. He had an antenna, so we didn't usually watch TV up there. I would bring my DVD player and stuff to rent movies and watch movies and stuff. But he actually had an antenna, so we watched Letterman and Conan O'Brien. And this is the time when Conan O'Brien was doing those Walker Texas Ranger clips where he just pull the thing and play some out of context clip. So we always had a lot of good laughs with that. So anyway, my hope was that Anna was going to be able to come down to Tecumseh that year, because she couldn't come down the previous year. But I was hoping, since she was just working the subway, that she'd be able to come down and visit. And then unfortunately, we talked on our anniversary, which we weren't able to see each other on this time, which was okay. And then it was then that she let me know that she had gotten into the grad school program at LSU. So it's like, okay, cool. That's cool. No big deal. But it was also meant that she wasn't going to be able to come down because she had to do a lot of finding an apartment and all this other stuff. So that was kind of like a crushing blow for me, and I admittedly was very emotional about it. But because it's like, oh man, I really wanted to see her again, and admittedly in my mind too. Now, around this time, Anna was only about 20 or 21, I think. So I'm a couple years older. And so I'm just like planning all this stuff in my head, like, I'll just move down to Louisiana too. Hell, I didn't know shit about the area. I had no fucking plan, but I'm like, I'll just move down there too, and I'll be able to see you then and be right, And it's like, yeah, but we'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, I had written this letter a few months before. And in that letter, I kind of basically, it was a very heartfelt letter, and she was very appreciative of the letter, and it was very touching for her. But on that thing, I basically alluded to her being my soulmate. And at this time, she's 21. So while she definitely loved me, there was kind of like, whoa, I may be further ahead in this relationship than she was at the time. So we ended up taking the infamous, let's take a break. For those friends, people out there, we're taking a break. Now, admittedly, it's funny because what happened was she had sent me a letter because I asked her if she could write me a heartfelt letter. And Anna's a sweetheart, obviously, and, very good-hearted and stuff like that. But one of the things that I think is different, and she definitely tries and puts an effort in when she's giving me cards and stuff like that. But I have a way with words and stuff like that in terms of I've done a lot of dedications for people who have passed and stuff like that, and I've been complimented on writing on that and stuff like that. Just how just that I have a way with words, is what I've been told. Whereas Anna doesn't. Not that she doesn't have a word; she's very intelligent. But I think in terms of saying the right things and stuff like that, so she was trying to do it. But what happened was that the letter hadn't arrived yet. And so she's basically breaking it down that she doesn't want to break up but wants to take a break. And I'm just like, oh, what? And then she asked if I got the letter. I'm like, letter? No letter. And the letter arrived a couple of days later. And then it made more sense of oh, okay, this is what she was trying to, get across. And I can remember my stupid reaction, and we laugh about this now, but my stupid reaction was, I went all Karate Kid Part 2 on her, and just because in Karate Kid Part 2, there's this infamous thing where Allie gets mentioned as yeah, she was some UCLA football player or something like that. And, she's totally not dating that guy. She dumped me for this guy, And I just immediately some LSU football player, it was stupid and dumb. It's just, as you know, Cobra Kai. Um, Too much obsession with Karate Kid. It's influenced my life. But so yeah, so that was another downer for that summer or that year, because now we were taking a break. So, and then once I actually read the letter, I was like, I had Bobby read it to get his context, and he says, this is a lot of hurt and there's a lot of love in this letter, and he says, time will tell. Just take it easy. And I talked to Nick Nolte. He gave me some advice too. And Christy was a great friend during this too, because I was able to talk to her, having a female perspective, and she would say, you can still write her, but like she would actually like overlook my letters to make sure I wasn't saying anything stupid or anything that's like too commitmenty, it's not a word, commitmenty, but commitmenty. It's a new word. Name it. And that was a great help. But yeah, the summer itself, the other cool thing I did do at that summer was that I did a one-man show. Right. Which I'll talk about Essential Stupidity another time. But I had done a sketch show with them after the bridgework thing had happened. And I really enjoyed it. And so I started like coming up with these characters. A lot of them you sing on Adam and Anna. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to write like a one-man show. And I ended up actually including my friend Kyle in a lot of the sketches, and because there were some characters that I'm like, this character needs to play off somebody, or this situation needs a second person. So I wrote a bunch of sketches. I actually wrote more, and I actually cut some of them. I had a friend, Robbie Griffin, and Steven, who watched kind of a rough idea of it, and then gave us like, well, take this character out, which characters you want to really keep, and which one, could you do without. We kind of nailed it down to the best of them. And they gave me a couple of notes, things I could do to differentiate the characters. Because at this time I hadn't done an improv class. There wasn't things like, I was very stiff-shouldered and stuff like that. But like they gave me a lot of... Robbie was a great help, because I think he had taken some classes and stuff. Shout out to Robbie Griffin. Cool guy. He gave me a lot of great notes and stuff like that, like I mentioned. And that really helps, so I definitely appreciate those guys helping us out. And it was great for Kyle, too, because Kyle's a great guy and a good friend, but he wasn't always getting a lot of acting opportunities. It's truly sad, because I think he's a very talented guy. If I was in charge, if he was in this area, he'd be on that stage, by God. I'd make that kid a star. We would always joke about Karate Kid a lot. And we did the one-man show, and that was, what a rush, because we had everybody, practically the whole cast came, and they were just like, and they were drinking and having a good time, but like, they were laughing, reacting, and, groaning when need be. But like I said, I did so many different characters. Some characters I totally wouldn't do today. I had a character named Donnie Trashka, who's basically a homeless person, or I guess they call him transients now. But like, I would definitely never do that character now. But at the time, it was decent. I did Martha, for those of you who know. I did that character. I even went out and got on Robbie's, they gave him kind of like a little, not a full lap dance, but I got on his lap and like, he's like, but like, just to fuck with him and all that. Because I knew he was a good sport about it, so I didn't have to worry about it. But like, I also had a lot of Tecumseh in jokes. Like I had this, we had this Tecumseh Resort and Spa, and what had happened was this guy in the dressing room the previous year, we were joking about it being, these things he learned at Tecumseh, and but it was like I had like it was a running gag of like 5 little quick things about being on the mountain, and just I won't go into them because you're not going to get them, and they're not going to be funny to you because you weren't there. But it was so great. And I remember I did one. It was there was a teacher I mentioned in the college, Richard Malo. I did a thing with him where I like came out and had my lapels like this, and I was an actor. And what I did is I took like lyrics from 4 different songs, and I just kind of made like a dramatic monologue out of it, and it fucking killed. Like standing ovation from the people, which was such a great feeling. Talk about all those times I talk about being like, oh, I never got the opportunity to be an actor, especially after that bridgework thing. Like, man, talk about it like a great confidence booster. I even had a thing where I took a dig at myself. I was playing Randy actually. I didn't call him that. I think I called him the Thurston Higgins the third. But I was basically, oh, let's talk like this, yeah. Which is kind of the Randy, our Randy impersonation. God love Randy. I'll shout out to Randy too. Great guy. But like, I just remember it's like, yeah, you can be like Adam Haig and get your ass fired at bridgework. I always take that, like the old saying with comedy is that sometimes you can take the pain and turn it into jokes, which I think is, a good way to deal with it. Honestly, it's great therapy, really. Um, but that was great. And then, like I said, we ended because me and Kyle we watched Karate Kid and stuff like that together, and like we'd always be like, oh, this stupid bike, I hate this bike. It was funny. So we actually improvised a thing. I might have mentioned this too before, but like, yeah, we improvised a thing where we had a fake fight scene, like choreography, uh, and yeah, that was fun. It was a great way to end the show. And like I said, we got standing ovation and encore chants. Uh, and yeah, it was cool because I have a DVD of it. Like, if I ever figure out how maybe I can post it on here. I don't know. There might be some copyright issues with some music in there, but I don't know. Whatever. Maybe I'll post it. I don't know. Who knows? It's an old DVD though, so I don't know how well it'll turn out. But yeah, that was a great experience. Like that was one of the few positive things that was happening there. And I remember I went and got a milkshake after that, and Bobby said, "You've definitely skyrocketed it, from here." And Phil Wilcox came up and said, "This is your voice. Just keep working on this," which is kind of what I've done with Turbo Turkey and Adam and Anna and stuff like that. Is really still stick with the sketch stuff and improv and stuff like that. Which is, and now I'm teaching improv, so that's really fun for me too. So yeah, I think it's really, that was the start, I guess. And Sense Stupidity, I'll talk about another time. Was the other catalyst that led to all this stuff, but along with the cable access stuff I mentioned before, got us to that point. So yeah, I'm always grateful for that experience. Now the rest of the year, I'll just wrap up the year basically. I came back, and of course, Tecumseh was over. I had a great time. I said goodbye to Kyle and Nolte and Bobby. And the funny thing is, all three of us had been there 3 years, and all of us were kind of like, yeah, I think I'm going to take a break at least. Done 3 years. I think it's time to. And I was offered to come back as the preacher, but at that point, essentially, Penny was starting to move into doing some more live stuff, which I'll talk about, like I said, another time. But so I ended up turning it down, and Marion was totally cool about it. He totally understood and respected me for doing my own thing, So shout out to Marion Wagner, great guy as well. Always appreciate him. And Tecumseh, it's still going. 50 years, guys. If you're ever in Chillicothe, Ohio, check that show out. It is amazing. It is dramatic, greatly dramatic acted. There's some humor in there too. Great action. You got pyro. You got horses. It's a great outdoor drama to be at. So if you ever go to Chillicothe, Ohio, check out Tecumseh. Nakuda Fanway Udala. Yeah. So anyway, the rest of the year just kind of was like, because I tried to go back to Target, and those two managers that were there before were no longer there. Unfortunately, the manager who was like, "Why were you leaving, Adam?" Was there, and then I got Target has this thing when they reject you, where they send you a postcard. We got nothing for you, pretty much, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, just don't call me at all. That's fine. And yeah, sadly, I've never been able to work at Target again. I've applied to them before. I work at another location that I won't mention because I'm on camera, but a competitor of sorts. But yeah, I really liked working at Target, so I was disappointed I didn't get to go back there. And by that time, the mall had been torn down. Our mall, Scottsdale Mall, had been, my mall since I was a kid. And they tore it down to kind of like, those kind of outdoor pavilion type of things where you have a bunch of shops, and now, that kind of is what replaced the mall. I mean, they're pretty popular now. They're little big centers of shopping things and restaurants and stuff. But yeah, there used to be a mall that was connected to the Target. So now Target's kind of on the other side of things. So I didn't get that job, and then I was kind of just like, I was living back at home, which I was already living at home. Oh yeah, I forgot also to come. So we did this Shakespeare and more workshop. That was a lot of fun too, because we got to do a lot of Shakespeare exercises, and we got to have this. It was basically like group therapy, and I remember like everybody was kind of breaking down about things in their life. I was talk about how I'm like, oh, I'm 23 and I'm still living at home, and I broke down about that, and then I was upset about Anna not being able to come, and it was just I remember it was really emotional. It was great group therapy though. We all just got to be emotional with each other and hug it out and all that. And I remember Phil came up and says, I've lived my parents till I was 25. Don't even worry about it, So anyway, yeah. So it was tough because here I am on a break, and which is depressing. And then at least with Tecumseh, I had Tecumseh. I had the show. I had the sketch stuff going on. All I had was Semi-pro-Mofoproductions. We did a show in October, and then we were working on doing more live stuff, making it more of a full-on group business sorts. But there was a lot of that stuff going on, and that wasn't really the most exciting stuff. Not that it was bad, but it was just a lot of meetings and talking, as opposed to like, we're going to do a show, put a show together, and that's my big thing there. But like I said, talk about that another time. But so there wasn't a lot going on for me. It was just a lot of like too much thinking, and then I'd be thinking about Anna and just like, this fucking break sucks. And I remember what happened was my friend Brad had come back in town. Surprised me at Second Chick. He just came in and was like, I'm here. And he had been, in Brooklyn for a bit and then came back. And he stayed with his parents too, so hey, whatever. You do what you gotta do sometimes. Hey, save some money, build some money, do what you gotta do. So anyway, as the year went by, I was like, I had my moments. I remember my birthday was probably the most depressing birthday I'd ever had. My parents are great. They got me a pizza and stuff like that, but like, it was just like, they gave me a really nice card and talked about what a great, wonderful son I was and stuff. I still have that card somewhere. But I remember it was like, I was hoping, even though we were on a break, that Anna was going to, call me or email me or something, and she didn't. So that was, kind of depressing at that time. And like I said, this entire video is not just like, damn that Anna. It's just, hey, she had her reasons, and grad school is very fucking hard. Especially theater, you got to write a bunch of theses and shit like that. I never went to grad school, and I'm glad I didn't, because I don't think I could handle it. But Anna did amazing there. But so anyway, like I said, I did end up doing substitute teaching because Brad, at least in Indiana, it's a little different out here in Washington, but in Indiana, you just had to have a bachelor's degree and you could just go be a substitute teacher. So that's what I did for several months. I didn't make a ton of money. It's not super lucrative, but I ended up doing that for like at least a year or two to make a little extra money, and which was nice. Once I started working another full-time job later in 2005, it was it was just a nice little extra bit of money. But I had some good times. The first the first class I had to substitute though, man, I think it was a first grade class. Holy crap! I felt like guys in kindergarten cop, because those kids were like, wow. I mean, one kid actually took like a permanent mark and put it on the dry erase board. So I'm just like, well, I'll never give any call back here again. No. And it's funny too, because I remember too, like I met the teacher because she was getting ready to leave and do stuff, and I remember like, even though obviously I was on a break but still committed to Anna, I did admit the teacher was kind of attractive. I wasn't obviously going to be like, well, I'm here to substitute and take you out. Obviously, I wasn't going to be like that, but I thought she was a cute teacher. But once that disastrous day went there, I was just like, yeah, I won't be getting any more calls either way. But the rest of the times, like I said, I did work with some special needs classes before. Those were fun. Those kids are great. And like I said, I got to do a lot with substitute teaching, so it was fun. There were definitely times where like I'd get a call and then it'd be like, oh man, I gotta get up at 5 a.m. and fuck. And one time my parents liked to fuck with me because I actually ended up substituting at McKinley, which was literally across the street from our house, because my dad went there to elementary school, and so like my parents wrote like, because I get lost very easily. So they wrote like a map showing how to get to across the street, and then said, "Call if you get lost." That's my parents for you. You gotta razz each other. A little good news. Yeah, but it's all in good fun. So anyway, a couple months had gone by. It was about December, and I remember I went out with Christy, and I hadn't heard from Anna. I'd written a few letters, but I hadn't heard from Anna at all. And even Christy was starting to get kind of worried. She's like, well, damn, I mean, it's been a couple of months. You've been writing these letters. She's not even getting back to you at all. It's like, I don't know what's going on with that, you know. And it's like, yeah, it's like, and she was kind of like, well, maybe give it a little bit longer and then kind of maybe just send an email or something, you know. So interestingly enough, right after I got home from the bar, and we'd run into my friend Jerry Magus there too, and that was cool. Right after I got from the bar, I get this email. It says Al Richard, and like I don't know, I'm like, who the fuck is Al Richard? And then I realized it's Anna Loft Richardson. And I'm like, oh my god, and it was her, and she was basically like saying, hey, you know, I'm so sorry to be out of contact, and then she gave her parents' phone number, and when it got to Christmas, we actually had a conversation, and pretty much the break was over. And she's told me later on, years later, that she had gone, not necessarily on a date with a guy, but like had gone out with a group of people. And the guy was nice and stuff like that. But like she basically ended up telling him that she was going to go back with me. So, yay me. So this time so if you remember my previous story about the two girls that were on a break and then went back to their boyfriends, I was the boyfriend that got to go back to this time. Yes! Things come full circle, motherfucker. Things come full circle. So yeah. And then from there, of course, you know, we continued long distance for a couple more years with LSU. But I don't want to get into all that right now. That kind of ties in with such stupidity and things like that. But yeah, so 2004 was a very rough year. With bridgework, with, you know, the break, with losing a friend, and just like job situations. Financially, it sucked. To go from making good money from the acting thing to like barely making $100 a week was really lame. But hey, these type of things, much like with my experience with financial things out here, believe it or not, as frustrating and stressful as they are, do help us build and learn from and, you know, do a lot better. Like financially, I'm doing a lot better the last couple of years, and some of that's helped with raises here and there, but like at the same time, I feel like I'm more in control of my money now. I don't feel like so like, oh crap, I'm overdrawn. You know, like I used to be like, oh, I'm overdrawn. Well, I have no money. So shit. And I have this bill to pay. Oh fuck, I have no food. You know, I'm eating peanut butter and a knife. You know, so I think in the long run, I mean, those times can be the most depressing and can just be like tear yourself down. But you know, eventually it turns around. At least God willing, it does. But I would, you know, I'm happy that I did turn around, and I'm happy that the break was only 4 months. So obviously there was a small break, but a few months, and then we were back together, still doing the long distance thing for a while. It was a little hard communication from then, was a little difficult just because she was so busy at LSU, but at least there was communication, and yeah, and I don't know if I should tie it into such stupidity. You know what? I will continue more honest stuff tying in with the essential stupidity stuff, because there's some stuff that ties in with her coming to visit and things like that. So and eventually I might move out here. So I'm going to tie that in with the essential stupidity stuff. So we're going to wrap this one up. Oh my God, it's only 33 minutes. What? Oh, what the hell, Adam? What, you're not going for an hour and 45? What? Yeah, I'm trying to keep it short, guys. All right, guys, so hope you enjoyed this little trip down memory lane for me. As you can see, the fireball battle in the back. Anyway, pretty empty, actually. I only got a little bit left, see? Maybe I'll finish that shit. Anyway, cool. Thanks for watching, guys. And like I said, we'll have a Halloween Ends video, and I will do a Halloween ranking tomorrow. So, going to keep the videos up to make up for lost time. Like I said, I think in the other video, we may not have stuff next week because we're going to have a Halloween party. So just be forewarned of that. Maybe I'll do something on Friday. I don't know yet because we're going to a play too on Friday. So yeah, who knows? But so I'm just trying to get some stuff in this week so we get lots of material this week so we can take a week off. Cool. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and hope you enjoyed it.